There's a room on the 5th floor of the old Elmswood Hotel, the one in the middle of nowhere. No one checks into it, and no one checks out from it. If you ever hear the whispers, whatever you do, don't answer them. Back in 1996, the Elmswood Hotel was the pride of its town. It was a 5-story luxury escape nestled in the hills, famous for its red velvet halls and huge glass chandeliers. But just 3 years after opening, a tragic incident shut it down forever. One day, a young girl staying in room 503 went missing. Her parents were in town for a conference and had left her in the hotel for a few hours while they attended their meeting. When they returned, she was gone. They immediately notified the management, and a search party was put together. However, neither the girl nor any trace of her was ever found. Even the most extensive searches of the hotel and its vast grounds turned up nothing. Rumors swirled around the town, pointing fingers at various potential abductors, but none of these theories could be proven. The case went cold, leaving the community in a state of unease and unanswered questions. With no resolution in sight, the devastated family eventually left town, haunted by the mystery of what happened to their daughter. The once vibrant hotel became a shadow of its former self, succumbing to neglect and decay, eventually forcing it to close its doors permanently. Fast forward to today. Elmswood Hotel stands abandoned in the hills, a haunting reminder of the tragedy that unfolded within its walls. Its windows are boarded up, its paint is peeling, and the overgrown weeds around it are a testament to its long neglect. Many locals still talk in hushed tones about the missing girl, and some even claim to have seen her ghost wandering the desolate halls. Enter our protagonist, Armand, a struggling urban explorer and small YouTuber who's desperate to grow his channel. Despite his lack of success, he's determined to make a name for himself in the world of online content creation. One day, while researching potential locations to explore, he comes across the abandoned Elmswood Hotel. Intrigued by its history and desperate for content, he decides to break in and film an exploration video. As darkness falls, Armand makes his way to the hotel, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and fear. He sneaks past the boarded-up windows, careful not to make any noise. As he climbs the stairs to the 5th floor, his camera captures every creaking step, every rustle of wind through the broken window panes. But he doesn't believe in ghosts. He believes in clicks. And he's about to get both. Reaching the 5th floor, he spots a room with no doorknob. The only indication that it was a room was a small, scratched brass plaque that read, "Listen." Intrigued and slightly unnerved, Armand decided to investigate. Assuming the room was locked, he put his ear against the door to try to listen for any sounds on the other side. Perhaps there was a way in through the adjacent rooms, or maybe a ventilation shaft. He pressed his ear firmly against the wood, straining to hear anything unusual. Suddenly, the whispers began. They started faintly, like voices coming from far away, but quickly grew louder. Armand recoiled as the whispers grew louder, seeming to fill his head. He pulled away from the door, shaken by what he had heard. But before he could react, his camera screen flickered, and when it stabilized, he saw that the door was open. He took a hesitant step forward, still listening for any sound. It was then he noticed the brass plaque had vanished. Astonished, he reached out to touch the door, but it was cold to the touch, as if no one had opened it in a long time. Hesitantly, he pushed it open and stepped inside. The room was dimly lit, dust motes dancing in the slivers of sunlight that managed to penetrate the boarded-up windows. Armand moved cautiously inside, his camera held out in front of him, illuminating the faded grandeur that once characterized the room, but something was off. The room was colder than the rest of the hotel, and the air was heavy with a strange, cloying scent. But the most unsettling aspect of the room was the complete absence of dust. Even the intricate carvings on the doorframe seemed to be free of any accumulated dirt, as if no one had entered the room for a long time. In the corner of the room, he saw a rocking chair moving slowly back and forth. At first, he dismissed it as a trick of the light or perhaps the wind, but as he watched, the chair continued its eerie motion, unaffected by the breeze. He approached the chair cautiously, his camera capturing its every move. As he got closer, he noticed the scratching on the wall next to the chair. It was covered with names, dates, and other markings, all seemingly made with fingernails. Some of the markings were recent, others had clearly been there for decades. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, filling his head with chilling stories of the people who had entered the room and were never found. The girl from 1996, the bellboy who disappeared during the war, the family of 3 who checked in for a weekend getaway and never checked out. The stories were fragmented and haunting, each one adding another layer of mystery and despair to the already oppressive atmosphere. Armin stumbled back, knocking over his camera bag in his haste to get away. He scrambled to pick it up, his hands shaking as he tried to regain his composure. But as he turned, he saw the door slam shut. He rushed to it, pulling frantically on the door, but it wouldn't budge. The whispers intensified, now echoing from inside the room and within his own head. They told him stories, dozens of them. People who entered the hotel and were never found. A bellboy, a family of 3, a woman who stayed on her honeymoon. Allah! All heard the whispers. All opened the door. And then he saw her, a small girl standing in the corner. She was pale, and her eyes were vacant. She didn't seem to be breathing. As he watched, she took a step toward him, her eyes fixed on his. She spoke, but it wasn't a voice. It was a whisper, the same whisper that had lured so many others to their doom. And then she was gone.